Hi, this is Tony. Version 6 of the Gearbox Visualiser has dropped, so a quick video on just the functionality and what's changed in the Visualiser. So to kick off, let's just show you where it is. So if you open up your browser, and I've got a new domain for this now, so if you go to LambrettaGearbox.com, there you go, LambrettaGearbox.com. The page opens up, so it comes up at the news page, as you can see. For downloads, if you go to the downloads link there, it brings up the current version at the top there, and then it's also got the version history underneath it. So click on the link and download it. It's about 2 meg, a bit bigger than the last, was quite a bit bigger than the last one, but there's a bit more content in there now. And then open up what you've downloaded. So as you can see, it looks quite different now. We've got a front page on this, and that's because with the amount of products now coming out, particularly from Rimini Lambretta for the small frame, it made sense to separate out small frame and large frame. There's quite a few combinations that aren't the same, and it was going to get confusing. So what we've done now is that there's a picture of each model, and if you look at the large frame and the Lambro are in the large frame visualizer, and again, obviously small frames in the small frame visualizer. Okay, so let's kick off with the large frame, and I'll show you how this works and what's in there. So not a massive amount of detail in this one, in this video. I'll show you how it works, and then I'll use subsequent videos to sort of look at maybe particular issues, examples, and some of the other settings. So if we kick off at the top, again we've got a home button. The home button just takes you back to that front page, as you can see. Let's just go back to large again. And again, you can switch quickly between the large frame visualizer and the small frame by clicking this button. So again, that just takes you over to the small frame, and then again we can click on large to go back again. The RPM values that we use to generate this this visualization goes at the top, and again you can adjust these with these arrows on each one of them. Basically, these represent on a particular engine or particular scooter when the engine starts to make decent power, when it's making maximum power, when that maximum power tails off, and then ultimately what the red line is. And I'll go into that in more detail on another video, as well as how to fill those numbers in if you haven't got a dyno sheet. Just through observation on the road, you can still do this. Okay, so on the left hand side, the example we've got is Rimini Cyclone 5 Pro version 2. I think I've got pretty much every gearbox available, or that's ever been available in here. If you spot something that's missing, then let me know, and I'll get it in there. But I think we've got everything covered. So choose the gearbox you want to look at, and again, we'll stick with the Pro 2 on this one. We can select the sprocket size, and again, we can adjust that up and down with all of the sprockets that I believe are available or have been available. And the same with the crown wheels as well. So again, gearbox, sprocket, front sprocket, and crown wheel. We also get, based on that sprocket and crown wheel, we get what I estimate the chain would be. So again, that will move. If I went down to a 19 on this setup, sorry, down to an 18 on this setup, you can see that we're looking at probably an 82 with a tensioner. If we go back up to the 19 fits nicely, it's an 82. So again, don't talk about stretch change. It's stretched is worn. This is a case of use the right size or something slightly bigger and then use a tensioner on it. We can set tyre size, and the default is just a standard 350/10. There's more in there, so you can choose other values. If you know your value, then and it's not listed, you can just select one that's near it. If you want to be spot on, there is the facility here to enter a custom tyre size. And again, I'll do a very quick supplemental video just to show how that works and how you can enter that. Once you've entered that, underneath that you get a table. So the table spits out some of the data about that selection. So again, we can see for that particular gearbox how many loose teeth we've got, how many cluster teeth we've got on the Christmas tree. We can see secondary and final ratios. The one that I think most people find important or they want to see first is the final ratio in top gear. That's highlighted in yellow. So on this setup, it's a 4.71. We can also see how many mile an hour per 1,000 revs in each one of those gears, what the ratio jump is between those gears, the maximum speed, and that's the maximum speed while the engine is still making good power. The red line speed is slightly higher, but that means that's the speed you'd be going if you absolutely took it to the red line. So you might not be making as much power, but if you've got the wind behind you and the engine is spinning, then again, that's what it will go to. And that all comes up on this chart here. So you can see the light green is when the engine starts making decent power. The dark green is when it's making maximum power. And the red is when it's beyond maximum power and up to red line. Now, the best scenario on here is if you have plenty of overlap. Overlap on the dark green would be fantastic. That'd be really quick. But certainly overlap between just either light or dark green works really well. And on the last two gears on here, I've also got the RPM drop. So you can see if you changed up on this one, if you're doing third gear, took it up to that maximum about 6,750. If you change it into fourth, your RPM drop is going to be about 1150. And you'd pick up on the next gear at 5,600, which is about 400 RPM short of maximum power on this particular scenario. So again, numbers are adjustable. The characteristics of your engine are bound to be different. And again, a torquey motor with a nice flat power curve would have much wider green bands on this. This is just an example. In the centre, we've got the equivalent speed, and this is both in kilometres and mph. So you can see really sort of for each gear how fast you'd be going, and also kind of when it's worth changing up. So again, on this scenario, you're looking at probably the maximum speed it's worth going. In third is round about 52. In fourth it's around about 64. And then again, if you've got sufficient power, which is important, to overcome wind resistance, etc., you should hit 74 in fifth, and then rev on to possibly 80 if you've got the wind behind you. But again, that's very dependent on how much power the motor's producing. You can adjust this up and down. So again, if you need something that's going to take you up to 100 mile an hour or beyond, you can do that and it'll open up. You can also change the increment. So at the moment it's in 2 mile an hour increments. You can increase that to 3 if you really want to see, if you've got something really fast and you want to see all of the overlap from first through till fourth or fifth. Or if you want something more detailed, you can sort of go down to 1 and really zoom in on that detail. I think 2 is the right one. That I think gives the best balance for most scenarios. So if you come down again, you scroll down. You haven't got to scroll up to change the gearboxes. You can change the first one there and the second one there. And then again, just some sort of basic side-by-side comparisons and visualizations. So on this one, there's the 2 boxes. And again, you can see side-by-side, the final ratio, the ratio jump, and the maximum speed. You've also got charts, again, which just show you that visually. And then underneath it, you've got your top gear ratio. So again, you can see on the Pro 2, we're on a 1946 and the ratios are 4.71. If that wasn't the optimum number, or you think, actually what, I want to go slightly higher or slightly lower, this lists every sprocket, every crown wheel that I believe is available, and you can then see, okay, what gives me a little bit more, what gives me a lot more, what sprockets and crown wheels I've actually got, so I'm going to go and buy another one, and then just see, how close can it get me to something that's either a little bit taller or a little bit shorter. And again, it does that for both boxes. So on this one, we've pitted the Pro 2 from Rimini against a 4-speed standard SX200. And again, it's without getting into detail, you can see those gaps between gears are fairly massive. Okay, so that's it for this one. It's just a brief introduction. Hopefully it's helpful. If there's something that you want, then leave a comment, and I can either answer in the comments or I can do another quick video on it. Hope it's helpful, and again, if this is useful, then again just bookmark and subscribe to the site, and again you'll get notification when a new video drops. Thanks a lot.